So, Mike, I had a kind of duh moment recently for myself when someone asked on Hacker News the question, what's with all the GitHub downtime recently? I think we should have a chat about it.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah?
What's with all the GitHub downtime recently?
Well, funny you should ask that, Mike. Yeah, it's interesting because I saw something recently about this. So if you had asked me that question last week, I probably would have said something like, oh, it's Microsoft buying GitHub and then moving all the infrastructure to Azure from being self-hosted. Yeah, it's easy to blame.
Or Cloudflare, some Cloudflare problem.
Corporate bastards, whatever. And it might actually still be a bit related, but this question was asked on a Hacker News recently, and they asked for GitHub employees to chime in because they were trying to get details from the source. And if you're not familiar, for future historians, GitHub has been having a lot of downtime lately, and it's been a lot more than usual, and it's affecting everybody. Everybody's moaning about it.
I hadn't noticed. I keep a couple of repos for my side projects, and I haven't noticed this at all, but I'm sure it's intermittent.
I have. I've been doing a lot of Claude coding lately, and I've seen a lot of my PRs to myself have failed to merge because of just breaking halfway through. We have a whole bunch of, you probably have the same, but in our CI/CD pipeline, we have a bunch of automations that, check for security vulnerabilities and things. So these automations run quite, they take a minute to run, depending on how complicated the code is. And a few times those have just canceled halfway through, which is a real pain because I don't know how to restart them other than whatever. Anyway, Claude knows how to restart them, so that's fine. So
I know how to restart them in GitLab. I assume there's a similar functionality.
There's probably a way. I just don't know how myself. Anyway, so the big answer to this was really interesting, and it was backed up by tweets or X posts from the COO of GitHub, and basically, what with all the AI coding lately, the number of commits has skyrocketed. And when I say skyrocketed, maybe you could put those on the screen right now. The first, next one, sorry. Put them in different order. So this is a tweet from Kyle Dale, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so in 2025, there were 1 billion commits. And this year, they're on track for 14 billion commits. That's 275 million per week. And that is a 1,300% increase in number of commits.
And that's just the number of commits. That's not even the number of lines of code.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another interesting fact was the previous screenshot, which was the number of accounts on GitHub, which has had a 45 million number of accounts jumped since February 2026. So it's 40 million in 6 months, which is 20% of all their accounts.
Amazing.
And I assume most of those are fairly active as well. I would think a lot of those 225 million developers are inactive. So yeah, it's kind of bonkers. And every upload you have is 50 million users are building with GitHub Copilot. Every major coding agent runs a GitHub. 1 in 3 pull requests now involves an agent. It's absolutely bonkers. So I mean, we knew there was a lot of code being generated, but I didn't even think about how it's going to affect someone like GitHub. So yeah, that's why there's been a lot of downtime.
It makes me think of just this morning I saw a prompt guy talking about a prompt that'll one-shot full high quality Call of Duty clone.
Yeah.
And people are doing this stuff nonstop, and then I'm sure checking in these gigantic repos into Git. So it's easy to see how this happens. All these vibe coders.
It's so common as well for people to just, you know what? I want to make a change in this repository. Just clone it and make a tweak for me. It just happens all the time. And there's stuff like this is another thing which is, I think, crazy. We're going to talk about maths at some point, and it is maths, by the way, and not math. And how AI is affecting mathematics.
How many maths are there?
There are one maths. How many? Yeah.
Okay.
But so I saw an interesting video, and it was about a non-coder. Actually, the guy from Bum, who it's another story about him. Anyway, he asked Claude. His company was bought by Claude, and he asked Claude, "Hey, have a stab at the Riemann hypothesis," which I'm not really familiar with maths, but I've heard of the Riemann hypothesis, and it's one of the longest standing problems in maths.
Would you call it? You had a maths class?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Well, you had a mathematics class, right? You don't call it mathematic.
Okay. All right.
That's where it comes from. It sounds weird to me. Anyway, for the sake of all the US visitors, I'll call it math just because I'm a nice guy. So anyway, he talked about math, and he said to Claude, because he works for Claude and he's got infinite credits, take a stab at the Riemann hypothesis. And it, like, many hours later, it came back and said, I couldn't figure it out. Then he said, no, go for it. Have a real go. And came back like a day and a half later, and it had been working the whole time and had come up with some revolutionary update to existing proofs. Or something, I don't know, something like that. But like, it ran for a day and a half, and the amount of code that it generated, and it was it said it ran 2,600 shell commands and generated 60 Python scripts and all this stuff. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we talked about however long ago the repo managers being overwhelmed by bug fixes and things like that. Like that's all this stuff.
It's just bonkers. So,
everybody's just submitting code.
That's why GitHub's down.